Welcome everybody to World of Tanks Replays. My name is Maxwell, and today's first replay is from the user Firestarter R93. That is Firestarter R93, and he's driving the Object 704 on a standard battle on Winter Himmelsdorf. Object 704 obviously been a tier 9 tank destroyer for the Russians. Gonna have a couple of TD replays for you today, and you know, if you followed the channel for any length of time, very unfortunate to miss that Pershing there, that I don't tend to show tank destroyer replays very often, and that's just because they tend to be rather campy, don't feature very much movement, and are frankly quite boring. Obviously, you can rest assured that the two today are different to that format, which is why they are being shown. Gets a very nice hit on the Pershing early on to score almost 800 points of damage. Just having a look up the road there to see who he can see. Got a KV-4 just in front to act as a meat shield. Unfortunately, he's also acting as a cannon shield, not being able to fire through the rear of a KV-4, obviously. So Firestarter just relocating here, going to see if he can get himself in the little window nook to see if he can fire at anybody. Just trying to maneuver himself in such a way that he can't really be seen getting into position or firing at the enemy team, but can see them. Just tracking an IS-3 here, going to see if he can see him just through the little gap in the road there. Doesn't see the IS-3, but sees a T-54. And gets a huge roll on the front of the T-54, 920 damage. I wasn't even sure if this gun could roll that much. T-54 still hanging around for some reason, fires at somebody, gets himself taken out. No idea why he hung around after taking almost 1,000 points of damage to the face. If that was me, I'd have been straight out of there, getting myself out of that situation. Firestarter having a look towards the hill now. Enemy team does hold the left-hand side of the hill, and as you can see, camping tanks up there. Gets a great shot on the WZ there, who fires one in return, but not quite got the penetration to get through the mighty armor of the Object 704. This thing tends to be incredibly well armored for some reason. Does have that magnetic gun mantlet on the front, which seems to attract every single shot that you fire frontally at this thing. Gonna see if we can sneak another shot into the top of the WZ. Not quite got the accuracy for that one. It was a bit of an ambitious shot anyway. This game is, at the moment, a little bit of a stalemate. As you can see, both teams just arranged across the roads from each other. Nobody really making any great inroads or any great pushes towards each other. Firestarter going to once again come to his favourite window here, get himself up on the little raised bit so he can see over the rubble. Shot still flying in on the hill. Just going to have another look up there. Can see the WZ from earlier. Gets a hit on him to take him out for kill number 2. Unfortunately, it was only about 50 points of damage, but still gets his gun out of the battle. So it looks like the hill's been pushed quite heavily now. The IS-4 has decided just to go for that STB-1 and try and work him down, although that looks like quite an even fight at the moment. And in close quarters, the STB should have the better of it. But just in case, you can see Firestarter's going to start to drop back towards the cap circle. Going to maybe try and fend off the attackers from the hill, as you've got that IS-4 coming down the road and that Waffenträger E100. Just going to speed this one up a little bit until we get back into the action. IS-4 making his way down the road. You can see the Waffenträger kind of parked up on the top there, probably sniping down. Going to be able to get a shot through the rear of the IS-4. If he gets a nice roll, he may be able to take him out in a single shot. We shall see. Not quite. 773 damage still. Very, very good, but leaving the IS-4 on 69 hit points. And to be honest, anybody closing in on this IS-4 should be able to take him out now. As you see, the 110 does indeed take him out. It looks like Firestarter is going to decide to climb the hill. Still got that Waffenträger up there, so going to have to play this one carefully. As you can see, the rest of the team making a push on that left-hand side. They don't outnumber the enemy. In fact, they are outnumbered themselves, so that might be a little bit of an ill-fated push. Trying to push an E75 to an IS-3 with a T110E5 and a KV-4. may not work out the best for them, especially now they've been flanked around behind by that E100. And they've got that T26E4 Super Pershing in the north there, also going to be laying fire down on them. And again, we're just going to speed this one up until we get back into some action. Object 704, not known as the best hill climber or the speediest tank destroyer in the game. Still respectable. The Firestarter going to see who he can find on top of the hill here. Hopefully he can find that Waffenträger on low hit points. Nope, he finds the M4043, takes a shot, picks up the kill, takes out the enemy artillery. Now the score is much more even at 8 kills to 9. Finds the Waffenträger, he's got 818 hit points, not quite loaded yet. Waffenträger knows that he's been spotted now. Gets a beautiful shot straight through the gun shield to take him out and pick up kill number 4. Very, very lucky, as an IS-4 had almost that many hit points earlier and he wasn't taken out. Now Firestarter's going to see who he can get a shot on. Looking at trying to get a shot on this E100, but he didn't quite have the gun depression or the angle to be able to get anything on that E100, and that one just ricocheted. A little bit of a rushed shot on the part of Firestarter, but that's the first rushed shot he's had this game, so we'll forgive him that one. Got an IS-3 come up on the hill to join him now. Score still fairly even, although they are losing by 1 kill at 10 to 11. But they're not faring particularly well down on the ground. That T95 looks like he is holding his own. In fact, what are his hit points? 852. So it looks like the enemy team is going to start flanking around, because the only other tank left down on the ground is that STB-1. To be honest, the IS-3 is doing exactly the right thing. I was about to criticize, but he's doing the right thing of trying to flank around behind the enemy, while Firestarter tries to get some shots on this other IS-3 from the hill here. Just trying to back off to see if he can get a shot on anybody, but it looks like the IS-3 is just out of fire range. Allied IS-3 coming back for some reason. He probably should have continued to go down the hill. Maybe a little indecision on his part could cost them the game. Luckily, that enemy IS-3 has decided to try and hunt down the STB-1 rather than go for the side or the rear of this T-95, which is probably what he should be doing. So, luckily, that STB-1 providing a good distraction to draw the IS-3 away from the T-95, because if anybody gets around the side or the rear of this T-95, this game is all but over. Firestarter going to come down the hill himself now. Just playing it carefully, because he didn't know if there was anybody waiting for him. In fact, there is. There's a Jagdtiger E100. Gets a great shot through his lower plate, but unfortunately it was quite a low roll. He takes a huge hit in return by this Jagdpanzer E100. He will have the reload on the Jagdpanzer, so continues to run, as there is also a T-34 here. He could maybe try and cheekily get a shot on the Jagdpanzer before he leaves, but decides that he didn't have the traverse speed to be able to do that, so just continues on running. Hopefully this IS-3 can lay some fire down the hill onto the Jagdpanzer's rear armor, as that's almost certainly what's going to be facing him. T-34 has come back now. Going to try and get his armor on target. Not quite able to do so, and the T-34 does get some damage through the front armor of the Object 704, which leaves him on just 201 hit points. A T-95 really should have started pushing up a lot earlier. As soon as he saw the Jagdpanzer and the T-34 were here dueling with the Object 704, that T-95 should have started moving then, rather than waiting until now. Gonna play last stand here now and just wait for this Jagdpanzer to turn up. Although it looks like the Jagdpanzer's turned himself around into a defensive position. He's gonna see if he can get around the corner and get a shot on him. The Jagdpanzer did fire. He's probably counting in his head. Jagdpanzer's turning and tracking this IS-3, which leaves all of his rear armor exposed. Object 704 gets a shot through the armor. Going to try and ram him so that he can't traverse to hit the IS-3. And indeed he can't. And then Firestarter starts to back off. The IS-3 takes his shot, and they pick up the Jagdpanzer E100. And that just leaves this E75 and this T28 left. I would probably hazard to guess that it's the T28 that's capping. And if it is indeed the T28, that's quite an achievement considering how slow that tank is. Firestarter going to try and get around behind this E75. Somebody's got to go back and do something about this cap now. Looks like the STB-1 is going to be the one to do that, although I'm pretty sure he is on low hit points. Just giving himself a little bit of space between the E75's location. E75 comes around the corner. Didn't know what he was letting himself in for gets taken out. That's kill number 6 for Firestarter R93, or just Firestarter 93. It's only 11 minutes into the replay and I finally start pronouncing his name correctly. So if that STB1 doesn't get his skates on though, and hurry up, there we go. As I was saying it, he gets it done. Takes out the... gets a shot on the T-28, and this one should be a foregone conclusion now. Going to have 2 tank destroyers in the cap circle. Should easily pick up the cap on this one. Just a case of letting the time wear down. Looks like the T-28 is trying to attack the STB-1. Not sure if the STB-1 wants to go for the kill. So I think not realising that, asking the STB if he wants the time to take out the T-28. He says just cap, so they go for the cap. Nope, looks like the T-95 was being a pal and driving out of the cap circle. But obviously the T-95 is a little bit slower to react. So if he wanted to give the STB-1 time, he would have had to have started driving a hell of a lot sooner. But as you can see, there's still 1 minute and 20-some seconds on the enemy cap. So this one is going to be a victory for the Allied team. Well deserved indeed. Firestarter 93. Picking up a huge 6,500 points of damage, 6 kills, well-deserved Top Gun medal, and showing plenty of map awareness, skill, and cunning to come out of this battle with the victory. It was all looking terrible when they lost the hill, and then the fight on the left-hand side also deteriorated, and people on the Allied team just not pushing and not making a move when they should have. Luckily, Firestarter 93 had his thinking cap on and was able to react in time and pick up the victory for his team. It's absolutely awesome replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. And don't forget to stick around, because as always, there is another game coming right up. And our second replay today is from the user Kesa1. That is Kesa1, and he's driving the Jagdtiger on an assault battle on the Siegfried Line. Jagdtiger being a tier 9 tank destroyer for the Germans. Not sure why he's driving with such a zoomed in camera pointing at the ground. Maybe had a little bit of lag as he loaded in there. So straight away, going to be doing what you do in assault mode, which is drive towards the cap circle, as that's where all of the enemy tanks will have spawned. Jagdtiger, pretty good tank destroyer. It's got decent armor, except for the lower plate, which is the bane of a lot of German tanks' existences. And has a half-decent cannon. Doesn't quite have the alpha that a lot of the other tier 9 tank destroyers has. And as you can see, well, yes, as you can see, it does have a decent reload speed at just over 10 seconds. Good penetration. And its alpha damage isn't bad. It's just not quite in the 750 ranges of the Object 704. Although it does have 5 seconds quicker of a reload. Spots out a Super Pershing here. Can't quite land a shot on him, but the Super Pershing can't get any damage through the top of the Jagdtiger here, which I'm not surprised about. Jagdtiger's in a very good position here. Nobody can shoot at the roof of the tank, and nobody can shoot at the lower plate, but he did have the gun depression to be able to try and almost get his gun onto target. Looks like there's nobody else going to be popping their head up around here except for that Super Pershing. So Kesa going to elect to drive more towards the centre, going to come in and offer support to this IS. Hopefully this IS is going to make a move or get out of the way. Get out of the way is what he elects to do. I think he had a look up this road and didn't find anybody, so a little bit unusual. There's normally quite a lot of tanks parked up this road waiting for anybody that may want to venture up the centre. Not really seeing anybody. Trying as carefully as possible to get some eyes up this road, just in case he takes some damage. Decides that he wants to make a move now. He's sat around for more than long enough. You can see a couple more tanks appearing on that left-hand side, but it still looks like nobody is defending the centre. This one's all square at 4 kills to 4, and I'm pretty sure Case is going to land a shot on somebody any minute now. You can see the Super Pershing IS, and not quite sure who else that was, Type 59, all parked around this corner. Going to be squaring off towards that Chi relocation. Gets a great shot on the Super Pershing there to set him on fire and score a total of 850 damage. So he may not have the alpha damage, but gets 850 damage regardless. Takes a shot back from the IS. Super Pershing now going to spin around. Does take some damage from the Super Pershing, gets his track taken out. Kesa says not today and repairs his track and takes out the Super Pershing for kill number 1. Now going to move on and try and charge down this IS. Unless the IS can get a shot on his lower plate, he's not really going to stand a chance against the Jagdtiger. He's going to continue to fall back. Gets a great shot on the T-34-3, who was falling back from the allied Super Pershing. And this IS is going to have a difficult decision to make now. He's going to have to go against the impenetrable bunker of the Super Pershing or fall back into the gun of the Jagdtiger. Decides to do neither and gets himself taken out. And that's kill number 2. T-34-3 has had his shot now. If he doesn't back off quick enough, he's going to get taken out. Just about gets around the corner in time. Unfortunately, wasn't watching where he was going and back straight off into the IS there. And he gets taken out. Going to continue on towards the cap circle. Just going to cut left though. See if we can find this Rheinmetall and this Type 59. Going to aim in on the Rheinmetall. Gets a shot through his lower plate as he's falling back. That went through the underbelly of the tank. But really, the Rheinmetall was caught between a rock and a hard place there. If he hadn't fallen back, he'd have taken damage regardless through that very, very weak gun shield. But as it is now, if he wants to return fire onto the Jagdtiger, he's going to have to come back over the hill, which is going to expose his lower plate again. Not that it really matters, as the Rheinmetall is very, very weakly armoured anyway. Going to climb the hill here. Now, it looks like the battle isn't going particularly well in the south for the Allies, being overrun completely that they have. Looks like the Rheinmetall's just parked on the other side of the hill, waiting in anticipation for the Jagdtiger. He has now decided that running away is probably the best plan. Unfortunately, it turns out not to be. And he takes a shot through his armor, gets taken out, and that's kill number 3. Really, he should have just sat just on the other side of this hill, waiting for the Jagdtiger. Of course, he was going to die, but he might as well have died fighting and gotten some damage back on the Jagdtiger as he went down. 3 tanks left now for the Allies, losing this one 10 kills to 12. Enemy team coming in. We've got the scout there trying to get some spotting done for the rest of the enemy. You can see they've got a few tanks in the back there waiting to come in. Trying to get a hit on this Ferdinand, but looks like he's just proving a little bit too elusive. Getting further up on top of the hill to try and see if he can get a shot down onto the Ferdinand. Not sure if that one landed, but I guess we'll find out next time we see his hit points, or when we see the score screen if we don't meet him again. I'm almost certain that we will meet him again though, as it's only himself and the Super Pershing left. As you can see, he did score a great hit onto that Ferdinand T. VK2801 tries to flank around behind the Super Pershing. Luckily, Kesa and his Jagdtiger has him covered, and he takes him out, waiting for the Ferdinand to show himself again. Indian Panzer's moved in towards the cap circle now, and Kesa's going to have to get in there and offer a little bit closer support, as nobody's really presenting themselves as a target right now. Was thinking about going right, then deciding that it would probably take him a little bit too long, and his Super Pershing friend would probably have gotten himself taken out by then. Enemy Super Pershing has moved around, can't quite get a shot on him thanks to the pillar being in the way. Luckily, the enemy Super Pershing removes the pillar for him, and he gets a kill straight back onto the Super Pershing. You see the Ferdinand coming around the corner, trying to go for the Super Pershing, finds the Jagdtiger instead, fired a shot but didn't do any damage, only got some damage on the track now. Super Pershing for the Allies only got 155 hit points left. That Indian Panzer and the Ferdinand both in and around the cap circle. If that Ferdinand drops back just a tiny bit, going to be able to take him out. Gets a great shot through the side of the Indian Panzer, and of course it's one of the lowest rolls he's had in the game so far, leaving him with only 35 hit points. Hopefully the Super Pershing should be able to take out at least one of them. Nope, not able to. I saw him fire, but nobody died, so not quite sure where that shot went. Kesa just going to stay covering off the Super Pershing, who is a juicy target right now, but he doesn't want to put himself out. He just wants to stay exactly where he is, and anybody who comes around any corner to try and get him is going to get taken out just like that. That's kill number 6, a well-deserved Top Gun medal. Going to see if the Indian Panzer can come around the corner now and maybe take out the Super Pershing, but Kesa is almost reloaded, not quite able to get a shot there. The Indian Panzer backs off just in time. And I think with 705 hit points left, he's got more than enough hit points to just charge down the Indian Panzer. Only got 2 minutes left on the clock, so they're probably both going to have to go for a base cap. Well, no, it's only 1 minute and 22. Beautiful shot to take out the Indian Panzer there. As you can see, there's more than enough time on the clock for the Jagdtiger to go hunting for this T-69. Not quite sure where he is. He could be trying to flank all the way around. My thought would be that he's probably moved around this location here on the C line and tried to come around behind the Jagdtiger, because he does have the speed and maneuverability as a medium tank to be able to do that. Both of them going for a base capture because there's only 1.5 minutes left on the clock. Nope. Looks like Kesa is going to go and try and hunt down the T-69. He's pretty safe in doing so, as he's got a minute left, just over a minute left on the clock, and only 35 seconds left on the base capture. T-26E4 not listening to Kesa and the Jagdtiger here, saying stop the cap, because to be honest, if Kesa cannot find the T-69 and the Super Pershing stops the cap, then that is going to be a draw, which is pretty much just a defeat. T-69 does show himself now. He's actually, looks like he's gone AFK in the middle of the field. Not sure why he decided to do that. No, he's not AFK. He's just chickening out, trying to survive there. Kesa gets a great shot onto him. Super Pershing still going for the base capture, which is the smart thing to do. Can he land one more shot on this T-69? He can indeed. That's 8 kills. Well-deserved Radley Walters medal and a base capture for the Super Pershing. Everybody is a winner. Everybody gets a good game. So awesome replay there from Kesa 1, driving the Jagdtiger, showing off his skills, getting 5,500 points of damage and a massive 8 kills. So awesome replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, then please send that into replay@screenreality.com. The link for that is in the description. Just attach the replay file itself or the link to the What Replay website to the email, and I can check that one out for you. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, informative, you enjoyed it, or you learned something, think about hitting that subscribe button, because there's a lot more World of Tanks content on this channel. I've been Maxwell, this has been World of Tanks Replays, and I'll catch you guys next time.